All right. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to America's Mom. We are so excited to have you guys back here with us today. We are going live once again. We have an incredible guest coming on with us today that I think you guys are going to be really excited. You're going to learn a lot today. Our guest is an absolute savage female freedom fighter. She's unbelievable. Her name is Sloan Rachmuth. She is the executive director of Pen and Shield Media. She's a Harvard graduate. This is a newsroom that she runs now that keeps government accountable. What do you know about that? She also unveils government corruption on every level. Wherever it is, they're going to sort it out. She focuses on K through 12 education, religious bias in the United States. She's been featured in the Daily Wire, the Washington Examiner, National Pulse, all over the place. You're going to see her once you start researching her after today. Sloan is a graduate, as I said, of Harvard University, where she received her degree in psychology. So we're going to get some real insider scoop on what she's seeing on the national platform, being someone who understands how humans operate and how the human mind works. One of the coolest things about her right now is her incredible work on education. She is leading EFA in 33 counties, 23 states across America. I'm going to have the distinct pleasure of doing an incredible speaking opportunity with parents in Colorado Springs soon. Friends, please welcome Miss Sloan to America's Mom. Sloan, welcome.
Hello, thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I've shared a little bit with everyone who you are, where you come from. I guess I think what I was most curious once I saw you and started listening to your videos that you've done, reading your pieces, you're all over America. You're in 23 states fighting the fight against critical race theory, and you're going to be coming to Colorado soon. So I want to know what led you to this battle that you're in right now. You could do a million things. You're extremely educated, extreme professional, and yet here you are fighting for us parents and the future of our children. Why did you get in this battle?
Well, I'll say this that I take my marching orders from God, and whatever He has me do, that's just kind of who am I to say no? And so, it's a calling for me and a calling. A lot of times when you get called from God, you really don't want to pick up the phone. But again, when He's on the other line, what are you going to do? And so for me, it started off 5 years ago in a little Jewish day school. I'm Jewish, and as a Jewish mom, the highest honor that you can do as a Jewish mom is to put your young children all the way up into Hebrew school. And so put my children into school, and we came across critical race theory 5 years ago, believe it or not. And the way we encountered it was the map of Israel came down off the walls because it hurt people's feelings. And really what it was is making children feel guilty because of who they are, their skin color. And so we started to see that early, and we went to the headmaster and we said, hey, like what you have going on here, but we're Jewish, this isn't going to work. And they were like, you're a bigot, how dare you, gaslighting. One thing led to another, I know, and one thing led to another, and we pulled our kids out, and they sued us. They came after us. They boycotted my business. They smeared us in the media. They tried to cancel me.
Okay, I just want to be clear. You were at a Jewish school where they had a map of Israel on the wall. They took it down because people were uncomfortable with. I just want to make sure I understood that clearly.
Well, what was going on is they actually hired anti-Semites to teach the children. Now we know now that anyone that's critical race theory adherent is anti-Semitic by definition. Jews are always in the oppressor category no matter what. And so the oldest hatred, of course, we know that is anti-Semitic hatred followed by anti-Christianity. And so there you have it. And so that was critical race theory. 100% is that kids, and mine were 5 and 2 at the time, because of their white skin and because they were Jewish, would have to atone for the sins of Arabs, if you can believe it. Because look, critical race theory has been practiced in Israel for the last 32 years. It was introduced by, Yasser Arafat and the PLO, and now you have what you have over there. So I know very well where it leads.
Well, that's a new concept to me. I've been studying CRT and its origination in Marxism, but I was very unaware that this was happening in Israel. That seems so contrary.
Well, yeah, I mean, so you're correct. I mean, what we're looking at in critical race theory is a Bolshevik teaching model. Of course, Mao borrowed it from Bolshevik, but the PFLP, which is a terror organization inside of Israel, it's the Arab terror organization, the one that the Arafat belonged to. That's a
Yeah.
Marxist. That's a Marxist organization. And so when you hear Glenn Beck talk about the Green Alliance, et cetera, the Green Red Alliance is Marxism and Islam. And so that's really what we're looking at here.
That's incredible. You're going to be speaking. I really want to encourage people to attend this event you're going to be speaking at in Colorado Springs, where you're going to get into the nuances of CRT, the history of it, and how it's impacting and affecting us. That's going to be coming up at the end of the month, July 29th and 30th. And we'll post all the information for that. Did you happen to see, because I know you're up to date on everything that's happening with CRT in America, did you happen to see the article just yesterday where the teachers union, the National Teachers Union, finally admits they're paying for the implication and application of CRT in every public school across America?
Yeah, I mean, they've declared war on our kids. We kind of had an inkling that would come about, but they declared war on our kids. And this is important to EFA for a lot of reasons, but not the least of which is this. We just had on Thursday night a teacher, an active teacher, who to my mind is the first one in the country, come out and speak against critical race theory. She spoke out against the CRT. She was presented with 5 times in a 6-month period in her training at work. And she came out to save children. Now, again, she's a working teacher. We want to keep her working. She's in North Carolina. And so the NEA and their goons have already come out after her and have made it, and they're going to do Oppo research on parents and teachers. And I say 2 words: bring it.
So one of the things I saw right away from everything that's on social media about you is you are absolutely a fighter. You are, your degree is in psychology. What do you make of, I know we're going to talk kind of large scale here, but you look around everything that's happened the last 15 months. What do you think about what you're seeing in America and this, you mentioned gaslighting already. I love the love bombing approach, all these narcissists who are sprouting up and blaming America for everything that's ever gone wrong in the history of the world. How do you make sense of that in America today, 2021?
Well, I mean, the best thing to do is not make sense of it. I mean, when you when you accept the premise, an irrational premise, I think that's your downfall. And then what we do is teach people in boot camps not to take the bait. I mean, there are things that are just wrong. They're wrong, period. You have to treat these people like children. And very often the ones with the loudest mouths, they're paper tigers. And once you take them on and you show that you don't care what people think of you. I mean, look, I tell parents all the time that, I would rather be called a white supremacist, which I am on a daily basis, and an anti-Semite. I'd rather be called that, 1,000 times a day than to have my child look at me 3 or 4 years down the road and say, "Mommy, why didn't you do anything to help me?" And so we need to get very clear and have in the forefront of our mind who is telling us to fight. I believe that it's God. Other people, may have their beliefs, why we're doing it. And it's just that. I mean, it's a job like any other, I think.
You've been very active. You're very activated. You obviously are in the business of empowering regular people to be activated. How do you respond to people who are afraid for their livelihoods? They're afraid to speak out. Like you described, they attempted to cancel you just for saying we want a map on the wall. How do you begin this conversation with people who are deeply concerned, but they're holding on, they're clutching on to whatever it is they think is going to be lost if they get into this fight?
Well, I mean, they're not wrong. They're not wrong. It's hard. I've been through it. I've lived through it. It was hard. I mean, the reason why I'm strong now is because I've lived through it. I've done it. I to this day have people that, come after us on our own side of the aisle. So Republicans and Democrats come after me because there's corruption on both sides. And so what would I say? I would say, look, as a group leader, and I say this to all the group leaders, you have to be very strong. You have to be the kind of leader that people feel comfortable getting behind and knowing that when they do stand up, and there will come a time that people will be with them, that will never walk alone, and you'll be their protector. People are looking for a protector. But again, what I always say to people, and, we've had some brave teachers that have spoken out, is that, that nagging pull that you hear at night, that's probably your conscience or God telling you to speak out, and you know what's right. And a lot of times, people make the decision on their own. But I think as leaders, as neighbors, as fellow teachers and parents, we have the duty of having the back of every single person that stands up, and something happens to. We need to make sure that parents and teachers and students never walk alone.
So have you experienced, that is the big battle right now. That's the one you're extremely involved in, is helping to support teachers, good teachers, helping to support parents. Have you found that there is a desire in the teaching community to stand up to this? I mean, are you finding that to be true? You said you've had one teacher really come out strongly against CRT, but are you finding, do you get a lot of messages, a lot of emails from teachers who are saying, I don't know what to do, help me navigate this? Are you finding that to be true?
Yeah, all the time. In fact, I had just me over 100 teachers this weekend, and that's just EFA in North Carolina. Illinois, we've had our chapter there have, I mean, a barrage of people. And I think that the dam has broken, over the weekend, that teachers are like, wow, I mean, you got to think about teachers. Most of them, I would say 70% of them went in because they have a calling, and they really want to help children. And they just want to, they're not unlike other people. They want to do their job, keep their heads down, and just, avoid conflict. And people and teachers are the same. They're starting to realize that conflict has come to them, and that's where we are.
That's exactly right. I mean, we're not living in a time like before where you could just be passive and hope things were going to die down. And you are in a special situation. You're a mother. You had to stand up and advocate for your own children. And so that led to you figuring out how to wage war against CRT and really against Marxism. Do you really think Marxism is trying to have a stronghold on America?
Well, I mean, of course, it always has, but I find that when I'm, talking to just regular day people, that comes off as hyperbole. And
Mhm.
so I will talk a lot about just, parents' rights. That's something we all can agree with. And we know it's legitimate, right? I mean, a tenet of Marxism is to separate the parent and child. And so I think it's helpful as activists if we talk about the tenets of Marxism and how that shows up, then people will understand what we're talking about. And there's no doubt. I mean, the race war. I mean, if you've ever read, if you have an hour, read a book called The Color of Communism. It's very small read. You can get it on Amazon. Written by a Black man, even before, a Black American, before the civil rights movement. He wrote about people of color being used by communists to start race wars. Read it and you will say, my goodness, this is exactly the playbook. So my point is that we've been here before. We've seen this before. We've defeated this before as a country. We'll defeat this again. I mean, we're joining arms with, I'm Jewish. My husband's from Israel. We're joining with, Palestinians who are coming here and saying, I've seen it before, not happening. So, and again, and we're finding in our movement, the people that are fighting the hardest are oftentimes foreign-born people who came to America and said, gosh, if this doesn't work, there's not another America. So people see it, that are not from here and that are well educated in history. A lot of times, native-born Americans, they don't see it.
Yeah, I keep this on my computer. It's Walter and Margaret Barst. They escaped Poland during World War II. And the things that they've seen happening here in America are reflective to them of what they experienced in Poland, especially the use of the public health department to strip personal rights and freedoms. It's really fascinating to meet another mom who is, you're so educated, you're so beautiful, you're using your power for good, you're helping other parents find their way and navigate their way, and really no one can shut you down. You've had a very unconventional growing up. I think it's really interesting. Do you mind just sharing with people your background a little bit more besides just your education? Because a lot of times we think our lives we're not living the right life. And then we find out years later, this life is exactly what it was supposed to be in order to put me in this situation so that I might be the most impactful in whatever mission God's giving me to do. You mind sharing just a little bit about your upbringing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a product of foster homes in the state of North Carolina. I came out of many of them in group homes, and I quit school as barely a junior. And so I ended up, later in life, graduating from Harvard. So, I have been through, and I think about this all the time, is that I had a terrible childhood. And I think, gosh, if I went to school and I did not have teachers as an ally, and teachers were judging me by the color of my skin only, and they had no idea the hell that I was living in my home life, then I would not be where I am today. I mean, it's teachers who gave me the strength to move forward, and schools made me feel like I belonged. And I could not imagine going through that and having critical race theory at the same time. And this is part of what I do. I mean, I do have a degree from Harvard, but it was, it also, and I mean, I've been an entrepreneur and done a lot of things, but yeah, I mean, that's it. That drives me quite a bit.
It's an incredible thing to understand that our challenges are really what give us the strength to do whatever it is we're called on this earth to do. I cannot wait to be with you in Colorado Springs and pick your brain and hear more and get into the detailed nuances of this boot camp that you're going to be putting on. Can you share with us just a little bit about the details? Do you know the details? I know the dates. I don't know the details.
I do. I'm excited. I mean, with all of these, I meet people where they are, and just kind of, get the lay of the land, and try to speak specifically to what's going on in your area. The good news is I've got kind of a big view of what's going on, where I know the national programs and the trends, and I know what has not worked for us and what has worked. And so, I mean, just at a fundamental basis, I mean, just teaching people what critical race theory is. It's a movement. It's not a theory, it's a movement. And then, here's how the movement behaves. Here's how all this, and then how to stand up to gaslighting bullies. It's fun once you know how to do it, and, you can make quick work of them. And just to kind of demystify what's going on in the process of fighting back against progressives. I mean,
this is the topic that I get the most emails about, the most messages about, especially in the last 2 months, as it has really come forward under the Biden administration, reversing Trump's laws, reversing his executive orders regarding CRT in the military. We have lots of state employees who are brainwashed and conditioned to believe they have, just naturally, because they're white, they're racist. They have natural racism built into their genetic code. It's unbelievable. And so every parent is going to want to be a part of this and attend this boot camp, have this time with Sloan, and really empower yourselves. We have to have a new toolbox today, because the government is the one. I love what you said. This actually is a government movement. Yeah. This isn't just a bunch of little left-wing progressives running around. It's literally the movement of the government, that they're establishing CRT and division and racism again and segregating us again, which I think is just unbelievable. Unbelievable in 2021 that people would be advocating for segregation once again. It's a very sad place to be, but you empower parents. You're going to teach us, you're going to walk us through how to reclaim our territory and educate us on what we need to know and how we're going to affect change in our local communities and protect our kids. Ultimately, one thing that you said that really rings true with so many is your teachers were your allies. They were your advocates. And if you have to learn in a place, we actually had a school board member say that kids with trauma cannot learn. And that was said to explain away low test scores by the district. If that was actually true, kids like you would have had no chance whatsoever. And yet here you are, a Harvard graduate, going around the country, empowering and inspiring people. It's amazing. You're incredible. I'm so excited. I can't wait for this next weekend that's coming up in Colorado Springs.
Thank you. I can't wait.
Yes, awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us, Sloan. And we are looking forward to such a great time. Friends, I'm going to be posting up Sloan's information so you can visit her. I also posted up one of her most recent articles on critical race theory, what it is, and some ways to impact it in your area. But you guys are not going to want to wait. You're going to want to join us in Colorado Springs on July 29th, 30th, and 31st for a parents boot camp. We'll post all the details above. It will also be coming to you via email, so make sure you're signed up on americasmom.net, and we will get all that information out to you guys. Thank you so much, Sloan, for all of your work and all your efforts. God bless you, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you guys so much for being with us. One last little thing I want to remind you of is the Colorado Business Revival continues. And I was wearing this for the Chuck and Julie show today, Colorado Revival, because we are all essential. Parents are essential. Parents need to be involved in what's going on with our children and what's going on with our local businesses. We can't allow government to shut us down, to keep us from our production. And certainly we cannot allow them to reduce our parents' rights and freedoms. You guys, get active, get busy, join us for this incredible parents boot camp in Colorado Springs, July 29th, 30th, and 31st. Yours truly will be speaking, and I'm going to wait for the subject. I'm not going to tell you right now what the subject content is going to be, but you're going to have this one-on-one time with Sloan Rachmuth, and you're going to be blown away. I've seen some of the incredible ways that she interacts and works with parents. We need new tools. We've got to fill up our toolbox so that we can really stand up for our children. And even those of us who have chosen private education, charter education, it's coming for you. It's coming for you. If you haven't noticed, the governor of Colorado is very interested in controlling every single area of your life. And for that reason alone, we need to be able to stand up and stand against the acts that they're perpetrating on us. It's a really exciting time to be alive because you get to have such a fundamental say in what's happening around you. So gear up, guys. I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Thank you for joining us on America's Mom. And we'll see you guys in just a couple of days. More special guests this week. Thank you, guys. Have a great one.